From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrus with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to you, everybody. And we have a storm that we're going to be tracking this week, and hopefully we can get a better handle on it as we get a little bit closer here. But it's really going to be giving us a fit here, or has been giving us a fit here as far as what we're expecting for this area. And some models showing a tremendous amount of snow, others showing a lot of rain, others not really impressed with the overall progression of the storm, and it just keeps it moving along. So we're going to get into all that in the video here, but I want to start off with our long range again, like we usually do. And our long range outlook actually has this was actually updated back on the 4th here. And we have this period here between the 8th and 11th with below average temperatures and that possible coastal low. Of course, now at the time we were just putting on there that it was possible, but now it looks like it's going to be likely, and there's really no model showing a miss. So we are going to have below average temperatures here in that time frame too. So this is going to create a forecast challenge for us. Determine how much cold air is going to be involved with the storm. Right now, favoring northeast PA, but we have to wait and see how that unfolds. It's going to be a very, very sharp cutoff between who gets heavy rain and who gets some snow here. But then after that, we think we go into above average period here for about 10 days or so, and then I think at some point, as we get toward 20th, 22nd, thereabouts, there's going to be a flip in the pattern to a more sustained winter pattern. So everybody keeps saying, well, is that, where's this cold and snow at that we're supposed to get? Well, we've had our shots at snow already. So complaining we're not getting snow is really not making much sense to me, because it's not even winter yet. So let's just just wait a little bit. We have a long way to go. And we expected December was going to start off on the mild side in our winter outlook. That is happening, just with the exception of these little curveballs that get thrown in here every once in a while, and that's when you have with this cutoff low. And we're going to talk about that now too with the cutoff low. This is what we're dealing with. And this is off the European model. You actually have your flow up north here is up over the top. This is a very fast, almost west to east flow. So this is your flow right here. This is where jet stream is, and this is moving everything along. And then you also have you have this system here gets cut off from that flow. So when we're talking about a cutoff flow, you have instead of being like this, and you have a little piece here that gets cut off, right, like this. So this is kind of looks like a horseshoe there, doesn't it? So then you have the flows west to east, and this gets cut off from that flow here, and it just stays there for a little while. And that's what the European model is showing here. And the European model is a little suspect in its evolution. Now I know it's our best model we have, so it's kind of hard for me to sit here and argue against it, especially when it has ensemble support. It really has no support from any other model, though. I mean, it's very difficult to envision this happening. I can see it happening. I don't know. It sounds a little crazy. This is what I'm talking about, the forecast challenge of what we're doing here. You have a system basically, and I'll show you the next couple slides here, that gets cut off from the flow here, and then it just really wraps up here right along the coast, and it kind of sits there and spins and retrogrades and loops and occludes to another low out here, and then that loops, and oh boy. You got a bunch of things going on here. So if you're looking at your app forecast on your phone, a lot of them will say you're going to have this rain and snow straight through, in some cases till Friday. Well, that's because the European model is showing that. It's just showing a low just sitting and spinning out here. But when you have these cutoff lows, it is one of the biggest forecast challenges to us as forecasters, because we just don't know. They have them on their own. Sometimes they can just sit there and sit there and sit there. And then when it gets cut off like that, it really has nowhere to go, because there's nothing when the flow's over top like this. You have nothing to kick this along. There's no flow. It's cut off from the flow. So there's no kicker. So this just sits here. You get this big trough sitting here, and then this is just going to sit here and get captured, and it just stays there. I mean, that's what a cutoff flow does. So until you get something to finally kick it out, and in this case, the European model suggests that's going to be several days. Now we get into here's the idea that this is going to be a major nor'easter, and again, this is what the European model shows. Has the system come out from the south like this. It gets up to about Long Island or so, And then you can see some heavy, heavy precipitation back here. And again, it's going to determine what is, the position of the high, how progressive this northern stream is. You get a big, very strong. It's actually north here, but a very strong high up here, and it kind of comes over the top up here. So you have like what's called a banana high sitting over top. Okay, so this is blocked. It can't go anywhere. It runs into that block. This is what the European model is showing here. So then once it runs into that block, it is forced to transfer to another system out here. And it's way out here. Okay, so you got two systems here. This one then occludes. Okay, and then this one takes over the primary, and this does a loop and retrogrades back on the European model. So kind of a goofy setup here. Again, not impossible. I've seen these happen before, and this will happen in a cutoff low situation. But you got a lot of things going on here. So it looks like at least to start, even on the European model keeps is continuing to be progressive with that northern stream, and by doing that, it's actually making this system a little warmer, at least initially, before going over to snow before it ends, or with that second looping. That one I'm not buying. I just the chances of that happening are very slim. One thing we do know is there's going to be a lot of precipitation on here, so there you have a lot of potential for liquid equivalent. This is not snow. Liquid equivalent snow, or excuse me, here I went. Liquid equivalent of rainfall equivalent of, like, if you melted down the snow, what it would be. So this might not be all rain here, but you're talking about you're in the 2 to 3 inch category. Some cases more than that. So it could be a lot of precipitation, or it could be very little. If you look at the GFS and its take, GFS is bringing it, starting this off as snow here, or as rain, even over the Poconos, New Jersey, everywhere. Here's your system here, remains relatively weak, and this continues just to move up here. It does not do this little loop-de-loop retrograde thing. It does not occlude as it transfers another low, none of that stuff. Okay, so it just comes up here. Here's the next frame. As it's pulling away, you get some cold air on the backside coming in, and you get a change to snow, at least for areas across the Pocono. So this is not a big deal on the GFS. This is not a big deal on the Canadian. This is not a big deal on the UK Met. So it's already if we're going to follow just the European model on this one, you could forecast like an end of days type thing. And that's what a lot of people are running with, because the European model is such a good model, especially in these types of situations. So it's very hard to argue against, but it's losing support from its foreign model counterparts. But the European model ensembles agree with itself for the most part. So good to see the Euro agrees with itself. But it doesn't, just because it's the Euro doesn't mean it's necessarily correct. And I think there's some things that are suspect in that evolution of that storm and how it depicts it currently. That are just not right. But if you go into look at today's runs that would come out at 12Z today, I bet you're going to have some monster hits there again. But one thing that the European model has been doing, as we go back to the upper air pattern, one thing it has been doing is it is continually speeding up the northern stream. So by speeding up the northern stream energy, then if speeding it up, this system actually, instead of closing off back here, this just trailing energy doesn't by speeding this up, it doesn't close off fast enough. So you need this to close off as it's injecting into the system, and so we're seeing a more increased progression of that northern stream energy, and the European model is catching on to that. So it won't take much for some areas to get shafted very easily out of this. And that's why we really don't want to jump the gun on that. We're probably going to do a first call as a probability-based map, not as an all-in type situation. Again, the GFS is still not on board with this idea. And then people have asked about dynamic cooling. Well, you're going to get these heavy rates. So look at these rates. You get a tremendous amount of precipitation here, and you're getting some really heavy banding going on here. Dynamic cooling. It would not work in this situation. If you have dynamic cooling, you would need the temperatures at 850 millibars, which is about 4,900 or so feet up in the atmosphere. You need those to be below freezing. Ideally, you want it more like 2, 3, 4 degrees below Celsius below freezing. And right now, that's not really what we have. Here's a look at the NAM, and this is what the NAM's depiction is. You can see you got really heavy precipitation here. Dynamic cooling will only lower the temperature, will only bring down cold air from up above if it is cold up above. And in this case, it's not. So where this heavy precipitation is falling, this is all falling is rain right here. And that's because your 850 millibar line here, it is going to be difficult to see. Here's your 850 millibar line. This is your 0 Celsius line. That means everything up here is below freezing. Everything down here at 850 millibars is not. So up at 4,900 feet, if it's rain up there, it's not going to change the snow on the way down to the ground if it's already raining at 850 millibars. And if it's above freezing, it's rain. So you can't get dynamic cooling because where's it tapping the cold from? There is none. So in areas that if this line was down here, 850 millibars is down here, sure, this can definitely set up as dynamic cooling and can bring down the cold air from the upper levels, or mid levels, I'm sorry. Bring that cold air down to the surface, and you could have it temperatures at 35, 36 degrees, and then all of a sudden you're going over to heavy snow, and the temperature drops, of course, as you get some evaporational cooling as well. But we don't have that in this setup here. So your best shot, I think, is that this system is going to go up here, like shown here on the models. Kind of go up here to just I'm thinking it's gonna just keep going here. I don't see a big massive loop. It might end up looping up here north of us, and you might get some back end snow here, but not a ton of snow. And then it heads out. I don't think it does one of those. It transfers to another one, and then that one loops and all that stuff. I'm not buying the European model right now. Of course, this is just my opinion. This blog that we do each week is an opinion-based forecast. So this is my ideas and what I think. I don't think we're dealing with these epic snows in the Poconos. I could be wrong. We're gonna do a map tonight that's gonna be probability, just because we have that uncertainty yet until we get a little bit closer. There's no harm in doing a call which has a high likelihood to be incorrect for some places, just because of the type of system we're dealing with. No sense in doing that until Monday night. So we're going to do a probability base tonight, and in my opinion, it's just my opinion, and there's other forecasters on our staff who think the European model is correct, and they're entitled to their opinion. More power to them. We're going to sort this out, but I just don't see it coming up to a point, right here, and then transferring to another system out here that's going to loop and come around like this, and I just don't see that happening. So we'll just see it come up here. I think it does slow down, but you're going to get once it does that, it's not particularly strong. You might get some good snows up here in New England, up in this area here. Maybe get to some good snows up here in extreme northeastern PA, Poconos, northwest New Jersey. But when we're talking about good snows, I'm not talking about 2 feet. That's my opinion. I don't see there being 2 feet up here in the Poconos. I think that you could get several inches, but we'll see how that plays out over the next couple model cycles. I mean, the next 12Z could come out today, and all the models jump on board for a big snow event up there. Very possible. I just don't envision it happening right now. So we're going to stay on top of this with our My Pocket Meteorologist program. If you have the text and email alert program, you know what to expect. We have up to 5 days ahead of a storm. We notify you of the possibility, and then from there we get into more detail with each and every text with how much to expect by the time we get to this situation. We're not doing it because we'll do more probability based alerts that we'll send out. But this is a text and or email. This comes directly to you, and it's for the area you live, the area you work, and that will give you the information for your county specifically, so that you can adequately plan for what's coming, and you don't have to wait for the public releases of maps and things like that. We send these alerts out. If it's from a meteorologist, not a computer, it's not computer-generated forecast. This is our opinions, and it's for that county specifically. It is My Pocket Meteorologist, and you can get on board by clicking on the My Pocket Meteorologist image right below this video, just like the one is in here, the video, and we'll get you signed up for winter. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and that is your this week's edition of Weather Weeklies, and we hope you join us again next week. Please stay tuned to the Facebook page for updates, and of course our first call map coming out this evening. Take care.